minute and a half?
Ils ont ajouté. C'est là. Oh. There'll be a moment. Happy. Oh, il y aura un moment. Tu verras. Oh, okay. Okay. That's the thing. By Shabbat, we're not supposed to just be in the moment of joy, but find your balance. Find your balance. Okay, this. All right. It's in your mind, and that's what's extra special. This goes here. Papi. My uncle to this would be in this section, not that section. But on a different note, I know that the it's okay.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It is really lovely to have some regular folks, some new faces as well. This is a special Shabbat, of course, as we will conclude it and move into Purim and get to hear the Megillah both on Saturday and Sunday. With the Sunday, we'll have a lot more festivities associated with it. So thank you all for being here as we bring in this weekend of both Shabbat and Purim, Chag Purim Sameach. And it's always, for those of you who come here, I sometimes like to remind us that it's not always easy to get here. And I don't just mean physically. I mean to make that shift to say, yes, I'm going to attend, and to let go of whatever it is that we've all been carrying with us. The week can bring with it a lot of stress and other assorted emotions. So we have this beautiful introduction on page 5 with Shalom Aleichem, which of course is welcoming in the angels of Shabbat. We talk about on Shabbat that we are given a neshama yetera, an additional soul, and I think that's a way of sort of looking at our own angelic self, our best selves, and letting go of what was there. So let's turn to page 5 as we begin.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachi Hashavet, Malachi Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem LeShalom, Malachi Hashalom, Malachi Kadosh Baruch Hu, Banchuni Leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei HaMelachim, Kadosh Baruch Hu, Tzedchem Leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
On page 11, Lechu Neranana, let's join together as we sing to God. Again, a sense of invitation as we enter into Shabbat.
Okay. This is the Jewish everything. Ose, Heveinu Shalom, all of it. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Naria, naria, letzuri shenu, nekadma fana betoda. Naria, naria, letzuri shenu, bizmiro naria lo. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu, 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 lechu neranena, lechu, 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 lechu neranena. Ki el gadol Adonai, umelech gadol al kol Elohim, asher beyado mechkerei haaretz vetoafot haarim lo. Lechu, 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 lechu neranena, oh lechu, 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 lechu neranena, asher lo haya vehu asahu, ויבשת ידיו יצרו, בואו נשתחווה ונכרע, נברכה לפני אדוני עושנו. לכו, 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 לכו נרננה, לכו, 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 לכו נרננה, כי הוא אלוהינו, ואנחנו אמר איתו, וצאן ידו, היום בקולו תשמעו. לכו, 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 לכו נרננה, לכו, 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 לכו נרננה. אל תקשו לבבכם כי מריבה, כיום מעשה במדבר, אשר ניסוני אבותיכם, בחנוני גם ראו פועלי. לכו, 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 לכו נרננה, או לכו, 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 לכו נרננה.
40 שנה כול בדור, ואמר רמתו אל לבבהם, והם לא ידעו דרכי, אשר נשבעתי באפי, מבון אל מנוחתי.
Just a little snippet from one of the Psalms that it's not customary to recite here in Neve Shalom on page 15. Adonai reign, earth be glad, the many distant lands rejoice. And now the paragraph that reminds us about God's particular love for Portland. Clouds and thick darkness surround the divine, righteousness and justice secure God's throne. Fire goes before God, consuming besiegers round about. We know that these introductory psalms are meant to sort of connect us to the natural world, but every so often there's a particular message that resonates. And I don't know about you, I think I'm feeling that after that beautiful tease of 4 days of early summer, you know, at the beginning of spring before we went back into that which makes the flowers grow. On page 21, Mizmor David.
Let's do a nigun based on that. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Anyone?
I can see
Clearly now the rain is here. Please, more le David. Havon l'Adonai v'neli. Havon l'Adonai kavod va'oz. Havon l'Adonai kevod shemo. השתחוו לאדוני בהדרת קודש, כל אדוני על המים אל הכבוד ירים, אדוני על מים, מים רבים, כל אדוני בכוח, כל אדוני בהדר, כל אדוני שובר ארזים, וישבר אדוני את ארזי הלבנון, וירקידם כמו עגל לבנון וסיריון כמו ונרמים. כל אדוני חוצם להבות אש, כל אדוני יכיל מדבר, יכיל אדוני מדבר קדש, כל אדוני יכול לילות ויחשוף ירוק ובחלום לא אומר כבוד. אדוני על המבול ישב, וישב אדוני מלך לעולם, אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. איי, 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 איי,
Jewish renewal eventually becomes standardized. And in the 16th century, in the Ashkenazic community, when Kabbalat Shabbat was expanding and having additional psalms added, in part because sometimes some people were late getting to synagogue. Shlomo Alkabetz composes beautiful prayer Lecha Dodi, and we'll begin on 23 with the first two stanzas and then conclude on 25 with the final two. But it's good periodically to remember that Judaism changes and that with enough time, we forget that it changed, and we say that it's Misinai. It's as though it was given by Moses to the Jewish people. Not so, but it feels that way, and certainly with many of these ancient melodies that are connected with Lecha Dodi as well.
Shabbat nekavela lecha dodi likra kala bnei Shabbat nekavela lecha dodi likra kala bnei Shabbat nekavela shamor vezachor bediburecha tishmiyanu enam מיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד לשם ותפארת ולתהילה לך דודי לקרא קלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקרא קלה בני שבת נקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה לך דודי לקרא קלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקרא קלה בני שבת נקבלה דודי לקרא קלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקרא קלה בני שבת נקבלה ימין ושמאל תפרוצי ואת אדוני תריצי על יד איש בן פרצי ונשמחה ונרגילה לך דודי לקרא קלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקרא קלה בני שבת נקבלה בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצולה תוך אמונה ים סגולה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת קלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה בני שבת נקבלה.
We'll turn to our small moment of Nichum Avalim, of comforting mourners, before we, it's sort of this pause as we bring another layer of Shabbat in. And I know we've had a couple of losses, so I want to extend condolences to Ruby Sachter and Solomon Bitone. But I also want to ask, because there are new faces, any other loss in the last week or so? Then to those families, we say, Hamakom Yenachem Etchem Betok Sha'ar Avlei Tzion V'Yerushalayim. May God bring comfort to you among all the mourners of Zion. And with that, we turn to page 27.
And the Sephardic one is Mina Shamayim Tenuchamu,
Which means may God comfort you from the heavens.
From the heavens, yeah.
Or may you be comforted from the heavens. Same idea, yeah.
27. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון, טוב להודות לאדוני, להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות, טוב להודות לאדוני. עלי עשור ולנבל, עלי היגיון בכינור, כי שימחתני אדוני בפעולך, במעשה ידיך רנן, טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון, טוב להודות לאדוני, טוב להודות לאדוני. יפרח השם כמו זה כל המשנה מדען ותאמר כי הנה אוהביך יאבד יתפלל ופריה ותעלם עליהם וקמים עלי מרים תשמענה אוזני.
Middle of 28.
צדיק אתה יפרח כארז בלבנון, יזכה שתולים בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו, עוד ינובון בשיבה, דשנים ורעננים יהיו להגיד, כי ישר אדוני צורי ולא עוולתה ועול נאמנה כי הוא לבש. עדותיך נמנו מאוד לביתך נא בקודש אדוני לאורך ימים.
Thank you, Cantor. Beautifully rousing. Kabbalat Shabbat. Tonight I want to discuss friendship, the hiddenness that results and arises from anti-Semitism, and how joy is both the corrective and the outcome that occurs when we step out of the places where we have been hiding. My best friend in elementary school was AJ. He was also my next-door neighbor, yet I haven't spoken to him in many years. Most of us have experienced how some friendships drift apart. In fact, many of our friendships, and certainly of our acquaintances, are more like fellow travelers. We accompany one another over a stretch of life before happenstance and our own evolution as people send us in different directions. But of all the people who've drifted in and out of my life, as well as the precious ones with whom I share an indelible bond, AJ is one of the most problematic. I was small for my age, a small Jewish kid. And AJ, well, he was fascinated by Hitler, World War II, and military strategy. He studied it rather assiduously for an elementary school kid, and would often tell me about the different strategies Hitler could have engaged in to have achieved his total victory. To this day, I don't know if A.J. harbored a peculiar form of anti-Semitism or if his fascination represented nothing more than the rabbit hole of childhood interests that all kids get sucked into until that early passion exhausts itself as we move on to something else. What can be said with certainty is that his insistence on discussing this with me always made me feel uneasy in some inchoate manner. Today, we might use words like microaggressions to describe what he was doing, invalidating and demeaning my Jewish identity through these small acts and without his awareness or conscious intent. Kids can sense when an interaction doesn't feel right, but they don't always have the language, self-awareness, or self-possession to understand and respond to what is wrong in an interaction. Figuring out how to stand up for myself as one of the smallest kids in my grade was a work in progress. That definitely describes my experience with AJ. As a consequence, I never could express the fullness of my Jewish identity around AJ, even though he knew I was Jewish. This part of me had to remain relatively hidden. This notion of hiddenness plays a major role in Megillat Esther that we'll read on Saturday night and again on Sunday. It's often referred to as Hester Panim, meaning the hidden face of God, who is the glaringly absent main character in the story of Purim. Yet our heroine herself, Esther, carries the same notion of hiddenness not only in her name, which is a cognate of hiddenness, but also in her personal identity. Her cousin Mordechai instructs her not to reveal her identity as a Jew to King Ahasuerus. It's crucial for us to note, though, that she consents to this subterfuge with no protest, except that the sort of hiddenness and self-renunciation in which Esther engages isn't really subterfuge. It is an ancient form of invisibility that Jews have often felt forced to utilize to survive. It is so deeply embedded and understood by Esther that of course she doesn't question Mordechai's advice, for it is as patently clear to her as it is to him. She must nestle a crucial part of herself in the shadows. This self-abnegation is born of existential dread that who we are isn't acceptable to others. And this sort of shame of being is hardly unique to Jewish people. A great many individuals struggle with the psychology of a healthy self-worth that is intrinsic and not dependent on our achievements. For too many people, self-worth is a fragile attainment, something to be won and earned by what we do, and the moment we stop doing, the dread returns. In a certain sense, one part of this dread is a psychological manifestation of a sort of rupture in our trust in God. And given the dark history of Jewish treatment at the hand of non-Jews, we ought to be extremely compassionate with ourselves and other Jews when it arises. There's been something deeply pragmatic in Jewish hiddenness. Indeed, until the rise of the State of Israel, our invisibility has been one of our most utilized survival tools. It's been argued by some historians that the rise in American Jewish willingness to be visible arose in lockstep with the birth and success of Israel, one of whose main goals, was the creation of Ha-Yehudi Hechadash, of a new sort of Jew who was unabashedly proud and visible. Indeed, this was supposed to be one of the goals and outcomes of Zionism. It was infectious as the American diaspora Jews began to act in the public square more boldly than in earlier times. As anti-Semitism returns to the American scene with a sort of vigor we have never before experienced on these shores, there is at least a segment of the Jewish community, and probably a part of virtually every American Jew, which has gained a fresh insight into the theme of hiddenness that plays such an essential role in the Megillah. I even suspect that one piece of the reason that many American Jews are so troubled by the war in Israel is not only about Netanyahu's government and the devastation in Gaza, but also the way the war forces us to confront our dynamic pull between showing up with our pride and our urge to hide a part of ourselves and dissociate from the experience of half the world's Jews? Which part of ourselves have we unfriended? Yet, as October 7th has painfully taught us, many of the people we thought were our friends and allies have also unfriended us. They have gone into hiding as well. Like me and AJ, we initially couldn't quite figure out what went wrong with those people and groups with whom we had long relationships. By now, we understand that this sort of invisibility is not about us. It's about fair weather friends who, when it grew too difficult for them to calibrate the moral dimensions of the Middle East, simplified their lives by choosing a side. This is also a dimension of the Megillah in which Haman and his minions are joined by all those who we previously thought were good people, or at least real friends. Our colleges, our high schools, even our elementary school teachers. We have become invisible to them. They have ghosted us. This reminds me of a teaching by the Rambam in which he delineated 3 types of friendship: friendship of virtue, confidence, and benefit. Friendships of virtue are those who help you be your best self. Maybe that's a person you go to the gym with, or maybe it's the person you study Musar, Jewish ethics, with. Our friends of confidence are those to whom we can confide our souls, our secrets, our innermost depths, the people who know us fully. And finally, our utilitarian friendships would be our business partners or those work friendships that never outlast the job. In our transactional world, what October 7th demonstrated was that many of those we thought were our friends of confidence or virtue were really just friends of benefit. There was much less there than we thought. Many of us are recalibrating to this new world and its challenges. Here, too, the Megillah provides us with a roadmap. For if the early parts of the Purim story are about hiddenness, the later sections are about us showing up with pride, purpose, and strength. What this reminds us is that hiddenness is only ever a temporary state. By the end of the Megillah, the Jews of Shushan and all of Persia know who their real friends are, and they are not afraid to defend themselves against those enemies who wish to kill them. Not only are they willing to do so, but their newfound visibility concludes with a massive celebration. They are joyful, of course, because they overcame their existential challenges, but it's worth asking ourselves if the joy is also the manifestation of what happens when we no longer feel the need to hide, such that we can fully show up. As a child, I wasn't able to do that with AJ. Today, we recognize that for our kids in schools and colleges, many find themselves in a similar situation akin to the early chapters of the Megillah. They feel forced to hide the Jewish parts of themselves in order to feel safe. And that is tragic. But just as Esther was able to stand up for the entire Jewish people, we adults have a similar possibility to be proudly Jewish, to use Cantor's podcast title. And in that way, we can be important role models for our children who find themselves in an untenable position, even as we advocate for them. We can also remind them and ourselves that hiddenness is indeed only a temporary state, so that we don't lose hope when we find ourselves withdrawing. As the Hanukkah liturgy reminds us, in every age a hero or sage arose to our aid. Today, we can each embrace this heroic mission. Maybe not all the time, but enough of the time. Shabbat Shalom, Chag Purim Sameach. I'm going to ask that we rise for the call to worship, the Baruch Hu. You can find that on page 39.
ברכו את אדוני מבורך.
Baruch Adonai Mevarach leolam vaed.
ברוך אדוני מבורך לעולם ועד.
Please be seated.
ברוך אתה אדוני מלך העולם.
אוויר יום מביא לילה, מבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו. אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני המרעיף ערבים.
Love also helps us to show up. And if you're ever struggling, all you need to do is close your eyes and think about one of those people who love you as fully and unconditionally as possible, not 100%, we're human, and feel that and think about the strength, the pride, the sense of certainty they gave you. That's Ahavat Olam, page 40.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך אהבת. אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך אהבת. תורה 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 ומצוות חוקים חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת. תורה 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 ומצוות חוקים חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך נשיח בחוקיך. תורה 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 ומצוות חוקים חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת. תורה 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 ומצוות חוקים חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת. ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגי יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. תורה 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 ומצוות חוקים חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת. תורה 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 ומצוות חוקים חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיה אם שמוע תשמעו זאת הישר אנוכי בצאתכם היום. ושמתם דברי אלה עליה ובכם שלום. ויאמר אדוני של לאמור, דבר. אתה רוצה להמציא ציצית. לכם לציצית, ואתם תעשו. לא תטורו חלילה ובכם ממש, אתם זונים, תסגרו בזה. אלוהיכם אמת.
The joy of salvation, michamocha, that moment after crossing the sea, leaving behind what was difficult and turning to celebration. Cantor will begin at the top of 44 and move into that.
ומלכותו ורצון קיבלו עליהם משה ומרים ובני ישראל. לכנו שירה בשמחה רבה ואמרו כולם מי כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך נדר בקודש נורא תהילות אוסף אלה מלכותך ראו בניך בוקע ים לפני משה זה לי ענו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ואל ונאמר יפדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Turn to our waking lullaby, Hashkivenu, on page 45.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, לשלום, ועמידנו מלכנו לחיים, לחיים, ופרוס עלינו סוכה שלומך, 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 ותקננו בעצה טובה מלפניך, מלפניך, והושיענו למען שמך, והגן בעדנו, ויסר מעלינו אויב דבר וחרב, ורע ויגון השכיבנו לשלום, שלום. והסר שטן מלפנינו, לפנינו, לפנינו, מאחרינו, אחרינו, 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 ובצל כנפיך תסתירנו, 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 כי אלה שומרנו, 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 מצילנו אתה, כי אל מלך חנון ונחום אתה, השכיבנו, השכיבנו לשלום, שלום. ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ושלום מעתה ועד עולם, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ברוך אתה אדוני, הפורס סוכת שלום, עלינו וכל עמו ישראל, ועל ירושלים.
46.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל לא תהיה לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. יתגדל ויתקדש שמר רבה, ועלמא דיברה כילותה וימליך מלכותה, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי כל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. ישמרה במברך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם וינשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמך דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמירן בעלמא וימהרו אמן.
The inward move now to our private Amidah on 47 through 52.
והגיון ליבי, והגיון ליבי, לפניך וגואלי, עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ישראל, ואמרו, אמרו אמן. רצון עם רפי והגיון לפניך, אדוני צורי וגואלי, עושה שלום, עושה שלום, עושה
Musical ending, but that extension of shalom, of peace, so that it fills up the entire room. It's a good reminder. Kaddish Shalem, building on that root. Oh, did I again a vote? Excuse me. 53.
מגן אבות בדברו מחיים מתים במאמרו האל הקדוש אין כמוהו. לילה 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 המניח לעמו ביום שבת קודשו טבעם רצה להניח להם לפניו נעבוד ברב ופחד ונודה לשמוע בכל יום תמיד לילה 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 מעונה ברכות אל ההודעות אדון השלום מקדש השבת וברך שביעי ומניח בקדושה לעמדו שני עונג זכר למעשה וראשית לילה 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 יתגדל ויקדש שמר רבה ועלמא דברה כאילו תברך מלכותה בחייכון ומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בעגלה בזמן קריב מרו אמן יהי שמר רבה מברך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם וינשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קדושה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן תתקבל סוטהון ובתון לכל ישראל קודם אבוהון ושמע יאמרו אמן יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו וכל ישראל אמרו אמן עושה שלום ממרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו וכל ישראל וכל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן.
We'll rise for Kiddush, page 55. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratza b'anu b'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon inchilanu zikaron lemahaseh b'reishit כי הוא יום תחילה למקרא קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, אותנו קידשת מכל העמים, בשבת קודשך, באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. Ruch ata Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat.
Amen.
We remain standing. Aleinu 56.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שאת השמיים וזאת הארץ. על כן אלוהינו, לפניך אדוני אלוהינו, ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. In a moment, we will turn to Kaddish Tome, the mourner's Kaddish. In addition to the names on the back of this list, which I invite you to take a look at, I want to call to mind again those who passed recently and offer our condolences to the families of Seymour Lawrence, Larry Kaner, and Suzanne Lieberman, as well as, of course, families of Solomon Biton and Ruby Zachter. Anyone here observing a yard site or in a period of mourning? If so, would you please rise and let us know the name of the individual for whom you are reciting Kaddish. Together then, Yitgadal v'Kadash Shemei Rabbah v'Yamad Yivra Kirutei v'Yamlich Machutei v'Chayechon v'Yamechon v'Chayei Dechol Beit Yisrael ba'Agala u'Bizman Kariv v'Yimru Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah Mevarach le'olam olamei Amaya Yitbarak v'Yishtabach v'Yitpa'ar v'Yitramam v'Yitnaseh v'Yitadar v'Yitaleh v'Yitalal Shmei D'Kudsha B'richu Leila min kol bechata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiram b'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'cheim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'ramav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol Yoshvei Tevel v'imru Amen. May the one who makes peace in the high places bring peace and comfort to all who mourn, as you remember and honor your deceased. I can't believe Purim's almost here, which also means that Pesach is creeping up. It doesn't even feel like it's creeping. We'll need to do some more. We've already cleaned the oven, at least from the worst of it, because it's a nightmare, and our oven does not have itself clean. Why am I mentioning this, though? We are, we say kol dikfin, right? That everyone who's hungry, we open the door and offer that. So one of our Tikkun Olam concerns right now is a food drive for migrant workers, and we're collecting food now through May 1st. Dried foods, shelf-stable, such as white rice, dried pinto beans, cooking oils, breads, pasta, canned fruits and veggies, as well as jams and jellies. All are wonderful things to drop off in the bin in the administration lobby or in the President's Hall, which is that way as well. Let's see what else. Sudash Lishit, we don't normally have the third meal here, but because we are indeed moving from into the Megillah reading at 7:45, there will be a light meal here. Everyone's invited. You didn't need to register. There's no registration for this, but I should warn you, Sudash Lishit is a spiritual meal, and so it's only ever been like a Forschbite, a little something. So we'll have some salads and whatnot, and that starts 7:45. At 8:10. We'll have the Megillah reading, and the Megillah reading on that night is going to be a little more straightforward. I mean, we'll have some fun, but on Sunday morning, starting at 9 till 12:30, we're going to have the Megillah reading. Ken and I have been working on some fun surprises in between some of the chapters. The kids are going to be hopefully no more crazy than you. That's an invitation to the adults to find your joy and let it shine. And if you can't, if you're in a different part of life, we've got a CNS grief processing group starting in spring with Carol Stamper and Rabbi Posen. That'll be the first session Wednesday, March 27th, starting at 7 to 8:30 p.m. Blood drive as well on Thursday, March 28th. So lots of things happening, fun things, serious things, learning opportunities. Check the website, look at your emails, and come back tomorrow night so we can really kick off the holiday with a lot of fun. We will now turn to 62 for Yigdal, and then I'll invite you, Cantor, to break bread for us as we make the motzi and hand washing. 62 Yigdal.
יגדל אלוהים חי וישתבח, נמצא ונט אל מציאותו, אחד בן יחיד כייחודו, לעולם וגם אין סוף לאחדותו, אל נוטם ותגוף בנו גוף, לא נערוך אליו קדושתו, קדמון לכל דבר אשר נברא, ראשון בין ראשית לראשיתו, הינו אדון עולם וכל נוצר, יורא גדולתו ומלכותו, שפר נבואתו נתנו אל אנשי סגולתו, ותפארתו לא קם בישראל כמשה עוד, נביא ומביט את תמונתו, תורת אמת נתן לעמו אל עליה נביאו נאמן ביתו, לא יחניף האל ולא ימיר, דתו לעולמים לזולתו, צופה ויודע שתרנו, מביט לסוף דבר בקדמתו, גומל לאיש חסד כמפעלו, נותן לרשע רע כרישתו, ישלח לקץ ימין משיחנו, לפדות מחכה קץ ישועתו, מתים יחייל ברוב חסדו, ברוך עדי עד שם תהילתו, מתים יחייל ברוב חסדו, ברוך עדי עד שם תהילתו.
Amen.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, המוציא לחם מן הארץ.
Amen. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Have you noticed how Cantor and I have that time so that he virtually is finished cutting the challah by the time we finish singing Shabbat Shalom, which means everyone's invited up to grab a slice of challah.
Shabbat shalom. Look, this kid running up. Shabbat shalom. Shkoach. Nice sermon. Thank you. Lots of friends, and David was on point yesterday. Yeah, and well, there's lots of stuff there. It was good. They always are. And today spoke to me. Yeah. Shabbat shalom. What's your name?
Tara. I'm visiting.
Where from?
Chicago, but I live in San Francisco now, but I'm from Chicago. I have a couple melody questions.
Yes.
I've never heard the last, well, I never heard the Hegel. I wasn't familiar with the, I'm having a brain.
Sure. This song was a traditional Ashkenazi one that my cantor I worked with in Toronto did, and I picked up from him years ago. And if we had enough, an adaptation I made from like a Moroccan Arabic song that a Jewish singer made famous.
And I'm guessing that you got this also
Moroccan melody.
I was like, it was either Spanish, Portuguese, and Moroccan.
Right. She wrote this down. Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you very much. Yes. Where do I know this tears?
I was all the way home to get out of my system.
Yeah, no, it's a
I was
I don't